Hey everybody, it's Tim with Broken Dice, bringing you my solo wargaming project number 3. This is a hypothetical encounter using English Civil War era armies. This scenario I'm using is like a pitched battle, and the forces are fairly evenly matched, and we are using Warlord Games Pike and Shotte rules. Alright, solo wargaming. The way I envision it is you are either the game manager or you're a problem solver. And in this situation, I'm going the game manager route. I'm going to set two forces up. I'm going to be the one rolling the dice, moving the units, but I'm not looking to influence the outcome through my own biases or my desires to see one side win over the other. This is a walkthrough of the rules, just so I can see the flow and understand how this game works. And trust me, at some point in time I'm going to make some sort of rules error. I'm trying to kind of just work my way through this slowly. And one of the ways that I try to take myself out of this is in controlling how the battalions, the battalia, do their orders. And so what I do is I take a die 12 and I'll roll it for each battalion commander, and whoever gets the highest score, that's the one that's going to activate first, move his units first, or give orders first, and then I'll just go down the line. And obviously, and I'm going to do that for both sides, and it's going to try to keep me from being too much directly involved in manipulating the outcome. That's what I try to stay away from, especially when I'm doing this as for like a self-education or self-learning sort of project. But you know, to me, when we do it this way, it's more about educating myself on the game and just kind of getting like I said earlier, a feel for the flow of the game. I'm going to do another sort of wargaming project later on where I take a different viewpoint, where I'm going to be actually setting myself up a task, having some random events disrupt this task, and giving myself only so many options to solve the problem, and not giving myself, you know, infinite number of options. I've only got a few options and to use to solve it. But that's going to be a different wargaming setup. So in this setup, the first thing we need to do is to see which army is going to gain the initiative first. And I rolled the dice, and it seems like the rebel forces, which are on the left where all the trees are, have won the initiative and will be taking the first part of turn 1. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, each battalion is going to roll a die 12, and we are going to have the battalion commanders issue orders in descending order. So we have the rebel center will go first, the rebel left, and then the rebel right battalion will go. Okay, in the center, the central battalion commander, since he's on a great defensive position on the hill, he's going to hold his battalion in place, and he's only going to fire with his mortar, but unfortunately the mortar fires but misses. On the left, we got more action going on. Oh, and I should mention right now, all command ratings are 8. I'm not giving it a significant advantage to one side or the other. That would be an adjustment for a different sort of a setup. Okay, he rolls a 6. He passes by 2. Therefore, he's ordering the cavalry to cross the river and outflank the government forces. And with the 2 moves, them being close to the river, as you can see on the picture on the right, the rebel cavalry make it across the river. Okay, on the left, the storming party. This is a large unit. has a frontage. Let's see, there are 40 millimeter bases, and there's 7 of them. So it's 280 millimeters. So that's a large unit, and they're firing on the commanded shot across the way. All right, being a large unit, obviously they use 3 dice. They hit with 2. One of them being a 6, which that means that according to the rules, the commanded shot on the government side is automatically disordered. Okay, the units are disordered, but they, in turn, because they are in cover, they save the damage to their morale with rolls of 5 and 6. Now, you see this little blue arrow pointing towards the green cap. This is the inside of like a bottle of water cap, you know. And the outside is painted black and the inside is green. Because I don't have any specific markers, which are ordered, so the next time I do one, by the time I do another battle report, I will have my shaken and disordered markers. But right now, if the green side is up and you see this cap, that means that they're disordered. If the black is up, that means that they're shaken. All right, now we move over to the rebel right flank. And, oh, wait a minute, let's go back one. Let's go back and look. Yeah. Oh, never mind that. I was getting ahead of myself, and so let's just stick with where we are right now. And this is the rebel right flank. He's also an 8. He rolled an 8. They get 1 move, and you can see on this picture that they only move to the edge of the woods. If you go back to the very beginning of the video, if you remember, there's a copse of trees right there separating them from the main battle line a little bit. So they just move to the front of that. All right, that brings us to the end. Oh, here we go. This is a much better picture of it, where they've moved up to their present position with their basically the first regiment of cavalry is past the copse of trees. And that brings us to the end of the rebels part of turn 1. As before, as I mentioned, I roll for each battalion, and these are the dice rolls for what we'll term the government forces. Boo. So it's going to go our government right flank, the central division, and central battalion, and then the battalion on the left flank. All right, they're on the right flank. But he's a rating 8 as well. As I mentioned before, he rolls a 7, so that's 1 move. And he's ordering his cavalry to move across the river and counter the movement of the rebel cavalry. Cavalry turns, moves toward the river, but because it was stationed a little bit further to the inside, towards the central part of the battlefield, it didn't have enough move to cross the river, so we'll have to wait till turn 2 to see what's going on. All right, he also orders his commanded shot to return fire, being disrupted. He doesn't order them to. They can automatically, because they've been shot at, so they can automatically fight back. But they're going to shoot back at the rebel forces at the other end of all this terrain. And they roll 3 dice, because they are also a large unit. And so they have rolled two 2s and a 6. So therefore, they return the favor on the storming party, and they, in turn, become disrupted. Oh, wait a minute. And they were able to say the storming party, the rebel forces that were being shot at in the last slide, they were able to save that damage on a roll of a 6. Okay, to the central battalion commander for the government forces. On his order roll, he rolls a blunder. Okay, so this is a pivotal point in the game, and the next dice roll is absolutely critical. So I roll the dice, and it comes up 6. And if you look on the blunder chart, that's where the forces move a random amount. As you can tell by the bottom right-hand photo, I rolled a 5 for that. And so they move 3 moves. I mean, the difference between the way the game's going to turn out now, I think, and the way it would have turned out if the blunder had taken effect in a very negative way, I think is going to be tremendously different. All right, let's take a look at this move. Here, it moves 3 moves, which would be 18 inches. So, with the terrain, as you can tell at the top of the picture, there's a little bit of woods, and then there's some ruins. Then you have a gap, and then you have this small little clump of trees, basically getting close to the center right, let's call it, of the rebel line, or the center left of the government troops. And what that's done is that's kind of caused a funnel. Now, there were several options I could have used. I could have held up one of those battalions and allowed them to maintain a battle order and dropped one whole battalion back and had them kind of like, the way they would have set up, it would have been like almost like in echelon, with kind of, you would have one on the top right, and then another one in the middle, and then another one behind them. I didn't choose to do that because I thought, well, I don't know if I really haven't found an example of that kind of maneuvering for an English Civil War army where they marched in echelon and that sort of thing. I think a lot of them with these were very green troops, and even though they may have been trained well, they were still fairly green. And so coming up, if everything's perfect, they work all right. If faced with these sort of challenges, they didn't operate quite as well. So what I decided to do was, since the big blocks of Pike, they kind of disrupted the battle line of the central battalion and squeezed one of those units of Shotte kind of out of the picture, and then forced one of them to maneuver over towards the ruins. And so the battle line looks a little wonky, and the next picture will show. Okay, in this one you can see the ruins to the bottom right, where one standard size unit of Shotte has taken refuge in there. We have the 2 central blocks of Pike from each of the different little regiments, and then we have that center unit of Shotte has been squeezed out, and it has been pushed back and has had to get out of the way of the guys with the pikes. And then the other unit of Shotte has just been able to keep pace other than moving around the trees. All right, on the far right, that battalion commander, also an 8, rolls. He rolls an 8, which grants 1 move, and his battalion of cavalry move forward. Now, you would think if one side moved 1 move and the other side moved 1 move, then they should be within 6 inches of each other and they should be able to shoot. Well, that's not how it happened, because when I was initially putting the forces down, I didn't put them exactly at the deployment zone edge, and so they are a little short, and so this is where they wound up, and no shooting on this flank took place. And this is the end of turn 1. As you can see from this picture here, turn 2 is going to be really event-filled. There's going to be a lot of things happening. Unless I roll a lot of blunders, there's going to be a lot of action in turn 2. So that's the end of this video. I hope everybody enjoyed it. If you would like to subscribe, please do. If you want to leave a comment, please do. Leave one down below. You got a question, I'll try to get back and have an answer for you. I have a question, like a little 1-question quiz for everyone. Since I use mostly historical battles as starting points, and there is one in the English Civil War that kind of gave me my inspiration for the setup, I'd be interested to know if anybody kind of can give me a guess which one it is, and I'll let you know if you're right, just for fun. It doesn't mean anything. But that's the end of turn 1, and I hope everybody has a great great rest of their weekend. I know by the time I drop this, most everybody in Europe will be at work on a Monday morning. This is Sunday evening, so everyone stay safe, everyone stay well, and let's all stay in contact. I'll see you next time.